So I'm Jack.
I'm Callum.
And together we are Jack and Callum. We are head of content and CMO at the Purposeful project. Thank you, Talia, for putting on another amazing masterclass as ever. Today you're in luck because you have the famous Jack and Callum, the TPP specials themselves, and we're going to be talking about what we've been building over the last couple of years, primarily through Simon Squibb's socials. You've all probably heard of him. Be kind of surprised if you hadn't. And yeah, we're kind of going to walk you through what we perceive to be like the biggest secrets and reasons for the success that we've had, from growing a following to getting millions of views on a video, all the way down to how do you then engage people further than that and make them a loyal follower of yours, and then obviously get them to join your email list and community and stuff like that. So if you're growing a business for yourself, in 2023, I'd say that content is probably one of the primary ways that if I was starting again, I'd be looking to grow a business, because growing an audience is an asset that's not only going to bring you loads of customers and overall awareness for what you're doing, it's also going to build an asset that will stay with you no matter what you build. And yeah, it is essentially a no-brainer, as I'm sure you're all aware. So I think we've got a solid 33 of you in here. I imagine that's probably the majority, so we'll hop straight into it. I've got a mini slideshow to get up, essentially with some titles for us to riff off, and we'll hop straight into it. So let me share my screen. What we'll do, we'll run this for the next 20 minutes or so. We'll kind of just throw up all of our knowledge onto you. And then
you could have put that a little bit better. Throw up our knowledge onto you.
Well, no, it's going to be very aggressive, hopefully not disgusting, but it'll be aggressive and fast for like 20 minutes. And then at the end, we'll have time for some questions and that as well. So let me share my screen and we'll get in. So how you can grow a loyal and engaged audience organically without spending money on ads. So key in that last little bit is a lot of things in business. You need money to get started. For example, putting a billboard up or anything like that. With everything we're going to talk about today, you can start completely from scratch with zero. Obviously, as a new business owner, you're probably on a budget and you're probably going to want to avoid wasting money where you can, so you can focus on sustaining yourself and growing the business. So just a little bit of intro around what we've built and the kind of engagement that we get. So I'm sure you guys are all aware, but we've had a mad 6 to 8 months with the Simon Squibb socials. We've got up to now, today I just saw it's hit 1.4 million followers on TikTok. We're getting 13, 15, 20 million views a month, depending on the month. And Instagram as well. We've recently had massively blew up. I think we were only at 10K 2 months ago. And yeah, now we're at past 120. I think that's 135. So yeah, had some huge growth recently. And obviously that's allowed us to kind of more fulfill our mission, which has helped 10 million people start and grow a business for free. So our goal with the content and our goal with this today is essentially to reach as many people as possible that might not even know that they want to start a business yet. Hopefully you get inspired and entertained by the content that we create. Hopefully it subtly educates you about business in an entertaining way. And then from there, we have loads of resources through masterclasses like you're on today, and also in the community and stuff like that, where we try and help people at depth and at scale on how to start a business. So an analogy I like starting off with is this one here. So I'll just read it out by a guy called Kevin Kelly. A creator such as an artist, musician, photographer, craftsperson, performer, animator, designer, video maker, or author. In other words, anyone producing works of art needs only to acquire 1,000 true fans to make a living. So it's easy to see followers accounts like ours, by ours I mean Simon's, or any other influencers that you follow and think, oh my God, that is going to take so long to build a following like that. If you build an audience the right way, you really don't need a huge following for it to massively prop up your business. Like it says here, 1,000 engaged people who love what you do, are going to shout about you and buy your stuff is all you'll need to truly make a living. So just kind of want to set that tone at the start, that it's not going to take you years and years and years to get to a point where content and the audience that you build up will be a really, really valuable part of your business. So, Callum, I've been talking for a little bit, so I'll let you take the first title.
I'll pick up the fun stuff. So, first we want to cover is who is your audience, and I think it's really important that you define this, because how the hell are you supposed to create content that engages people if you don't even know who you're speaking to? So, an exercise I like to do to sort of help people visualize who they're actually speaking to is to put together an actual audience avatar. So, I need you to think about who they are, and as we do this, actually imagine this in their head. So who are they, how old are they, even put down like what are their names, for example, and really create this person in your mind so that you know who you're hitting. So think about, you know, what is their current understanding of the niche that you want to create content in, and what are their wants and needs. So what are the things that these people are going to need to see from you through your content, and imagine this in your head. So for example, we might put together a avatar called Tom, for example, and Tom has been thinking about business maybe for a little bit of time, or perhaps he hasn't, or perhaps he's not even considering business, but he is someone who might take up business. So let's imagine Tom, let's say he's about 25 years old, perhaps. He's been working a job for a little while. He's unhappy in that job and he feels trapped. He might be scrolling along TikTok one day and he'll see our content, and he won't know anything about business. So what we want to do, we want to coach him into business and reveal small, subtle learnings to him through that in order to engage him. So first off, he needs to be entertained, but also educated through that. So we get onto the education versus entertainment part a little bit later in the presentation, but that's first of all a good exercise for you to identify your audience.
So once you've identified your audience, you're going to want to reach these people, right? And the way that we're going to be reaching people primarily today is through social media. Now, I'm sure you all know what that is, but really quickly, we'll just cover like what social platforms we're talking about. And in short, we're talking about the style of short form video, which TikTok uses. So we're going to be using all of the platforms which enable this, which now, luckily for us, is everything. So Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. All of these I would make accounts on, because the content that we're going to be talking about, the content that we're going to be creating, we can post everywhere. It's no extra effort. And then also each time you're just going to be like doubling your reach again and again and again and again without creating any extra content. So not too much more I need to say about that, but just so you've got it in your head, the content that we're creating today, that can go everywhere. So yeah, as previously mentioned, we're going to be focusing on like the type of content that is going to allow us to reach the most people. And that comes from the beautiful thing TikTok created, which is short form content. Reason for this, you guys remember a couple of years ago on Instagram, it's kind of it felt like only celebrities could grow a following, right? Or even on YouTube, you'll hear lots of stories of people grafting for years and years and years and years and years just to build up, say, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And it's not necessarily accessible from the start, like the typical models of social media a few years ago. However, TikTok came along 3 or 4 years ago now and brought this incredible, controversial, but incredible algorithm, which allowed us to create a video and instantly reach millions and millions of people. Funny little story. My first TikTok I ever created personally, was in lockdown. I was working at Co-op at the time, and I released a series of like jokey videos because we were bored at work. One of them, I fell into a load of wine bottles, smashed them all, and made a funny TikTok out of it. I had 0 followers at that time, and that video got 1.3 million views, and I think I got 10,000 followers just from that video. And I'm pretty sure it's still the most liked video on #Co-op today. So
you can check that out.
Yeah, you can fact check me on
after the presentation.
Last time I checked, that was the case. But it's funny and kind of strange as that is, it shows the huge power of social media if done right. Like, again, if I'd have posted that on Instagram or something like that, I had no followers, so it's not going to go anywhere. But with that, because TikTok is fair and it just rates each video for what it is, and if people watch it, it will show it to more and more and more and more and more people. If you're creating good content, you can reach thousands or millions of people from day one. So with that in mind, we're going to be focusing on this style of content. And then, like I said, now that's across all social media platforms. They're all trying to join in. So the beauty is, if we're creating good short form content, we can reach millions of people from day one and quickly build a following that is going to be highly engaged and also help us grow our business.
Viral videos, the hook. So we're going to be breaking down videos into two separate pieces. First of all is the hook, and then second of all is the core content, of course. So the things to remember with a hook is that you literally want to do what it says on the tin. You want to hook the audience in and keep them engaged. So imagine the average viewer of TikTok. Imagine what they're doing. They're sat there, they're in a little bit of a mindless scroll, right? So you want to be able to stop their scroll so that they choose to watch your video before swiping away. Okay, and if you don't effectively put into practice this hook, people will scroll away and you won't get any reach. You won't get put into the algorithm, and you won't ultimately find the success that you need with content. So in order to hook the audience, you want to grab their attention. Now, how do you do this? You can do it in 3 ways, or more than 3, but we're going to focus on 3 for now. So you want to either make them question something. So you might want to open up with a question, something that's going to get them to think and get them to pause for a moment to think about something. Secondly, you can shock them a little bit. So you might show them something crazy or something interesting or something peculiar, something out of the ordinary. We recently had a video which we put on TikTok, and it was one of our street interviews that we did, the Give Without Take street interviews. And we actually, Simon interviewed a street performer, and as part of his performance, he basically, I think he was walking on a wire and he was taking his clothes off. It was really entertaining to watch. And after he had finished his street performance, obviously he was stood there in his pants. So that's an interesting way that you could hook the audience in by interviewing someone in their pants in the street. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that, but just to sort of give you that example of getting them in a state of shock. And the third is to intrigue them. So I guess you could say that the man in his pants is somewhat intriguing. But you can also do this through a number of different ways. So yeah, those are the 3 to focus on in terms of hooking the audience in. And then throughout the core of your content, you need to keep your audience engaged, because the way in which TikTok works is that the longer your audience stay watching that video, the more it's going to get put into the algorithm, and that video is going to be shown to more people effectively. Because what TikTok wants, they want people to stay on the platform. They want people watching and enjoying and consuming the videos that are on the platform. So if you rank as a creator that is successfully managing to engage the audience and get them to stay on your videos and watch your videos, preferably to the end, and if not multiple times, they're going to look upon you favorably, and they're going to promote your videos more, ultimately giving you more reach and more eyeballs on yourself and your business. So just some engagement tips just to help you keep the audience entertained and engaged. First of all, I've just noted down subtitles. You might think this is weird because the majority of people that watch TikTok have the audio on, but this is exactly what this says on the presentation right now. It's about engagement. It's about engaging their brain, not on just one dimension, but 2. So they're watching actually 3, in fact. They're watching the video, they're listening to the video, and they're also reading the text as the video goes along. So it's kind of just maximizing the person's capacity in their brain to keep, literally, you want to think about, keeping their brain attached to your video, if that makes sense. I've also noted down fast-paced action, so cut. So what I mean by this is that you want to make sure that it's always developing. The video is always developing. Either there's a piece of information that you're giving, or there's a little bit more action in the video, or at least you're switching up the dynamics of the video to keep it swift. So the way in which we do this with our street interviews, we actually in the edit, we basically artificially put on some motion blur, so it looks like the camera is zooming back and forth between Simon and the interviewee, and and the reason for that is, yes, to cut between different parts of the interview, but it's also just highly engaging and I wouldn't say attractive, but it gets the audience sucked in, right? I've also noted down storytelling. So you want to reveal information slowly throughout the video, and you want to make sure that you construct your videos around this. So what I mean by storytelling, I'll use our videos as example again. In our videos, the way in which they usually go, you open up with a question such as, have you ever thought about starting a business? Which Simon will ask, and instantly you're seeing the hook. That's intriguing the viewers, getting them to question, would I ever start a business? What would I do? What are my dreams? And slowly throughout the video, as the video unravels, we start to learn about their dreams and their hopes. So you know, they'll say, oh no, I haven't, and then Simon might say, well, if money wasn't a thing, what would you do? And then they say, oh well, actually I really love to dance. I'd love to you know, show off my dancing talent online or something like that. And slowly we'll start to see that, oh yeah, they do have dreams. Oh yeah, everyone has dreams. All these random people out here on the street, everyone has their own dream, right? And we're slowly learning about this person. And then they say, well, why aren't you doing it? Or someone will say, why aren't you doing it? What's stopping you? And usually they tend to say money. It's not always this, but they tend to say money. And then eventually Simon might give them some money to inspire them to start a business of their own. So that's what I mean by the storytelling. You want to be constantly unraveling that and starting from a place of total stranger asking a question in the street. And by the end of it, Simon's built a rapport with them, built a relationship with them, understood their hopes and dreams, and actually given them a little bit of money to inspire them to go ahead and do it. So that's another way in which you can engage your viewer throughout the content. And lastly, I've just put down some other pieces. So I've written down B-roll, zooms, and transitions. So this is just post stuff. This is editing stuff. It's up to you guys whether you want to edit your videos or not. The TikTok editor is actually pretty good, honestly. And this is the beauty of short form content. You can do it pretty easily from your phone without any external software or anything like that. But what I mean by B-roll is, you know, a piece of content over the top. So let's say you're talking about a certain action, maybe it's a gym video, and you're talking about the best way to do a bench press. You might show a video of someone actually bench pressing as you're explaining that. Zooms and transitions, this is just editing stuff, like zooming in on a person's face, cutting out, all that sort of thing. And transitions, like I mentioned earlier, the zooming back and forth is a good example of it, which we do in our street content just to keep the viewer engaged.
Just one more thing to kind of finish off the engagement section. Like, no matter what business you're starting, Callum just said a gym business. So say you're creating gym content around how to bench press, like he's just said there. One thing you just want to keep conscious of is, like, every single second has to be 100% necessary. So if you've already made a point, you don't necessarily need to expound on it or waffle on it unless it's like a super bonus point, or unless the storyline goes further, or something funny or exciting happens. Like, as a general rule with short form content, you want to deliver your point or the story in like as minimum time possible while giving as much value or entertainment as possible, right? So like what the thing to have in your head is like no fluff. If you have a rule where you're not allowing any fluff into your videos, that means that everything will either be valuable or will develop the story or will come to a conclusion. Then your video is going to be a lot more watchable, because people are always going to be kind of getting that mini dopamine hit of, okay, I've just learned this, or that's funny. This video's ended. Oh, maybe I'll even watch it again. Whereas if it's, this is how you bench press and you be careful of this. Okay, that's interesting. But the reason you need to be careful of this is because this, and then it's a bit slow. You're like, okay, I know how to bench press, now scroll. And then you haven't watched the whole video. So yeah, it's just a little mini tip for you guys. But I think that kind of concludes the engagement bit, right? So one thing I wanted to bring up, because it's kind of been a revelation of ours, is entertainment versus education. So I kind of see these as like two main ways to make good content. We'll talk about the business space for a minute. For example, Simon Squibb is an entrepreneur and he does business content, right? Now, there's two main options. You can either directly teach people through your TikTok content, fine, or you can kind of get creative and try and entertain people like they're watching TV or something, but still having it business themes. Now, we've tried both of these things, and we have found that going the entertainment route, so the street interviews, which are fun and there's a little bit of drama and you never know what's going to happen, whilst subtly getting the education across. In terms of views, for us, these do massively, massively, massively better than if we just get Simon to say, sit down and teach all the business that he knows. And the reason for this is that it's way more accessible to people, right? Like, we're then attracting people who don't even necessarily know that they want to start a business yet. They're just interested in the video. They just find it entertaining. And that number of people who want to watch an entertaining video compared to the number of people that in that minute specifically want to learn about sales, for example, is the comparison is disproportionate. So with that in mind, no matter what business you have or what content you're creating, again, if I was, say, working for you and your business, or if I was starting a business today, I would be thinking, how can I open up my floor laying business to the masses with the content that I create? So instead of me saying, this is flooring that is really good and it'll make your house look nice, I might do a really satisfying video that's entertaining and it looks perfect and all the way through. And then at the end, it's a big dopamine hit of, oh my God, the last piece of floor is in place. Or if you are a gym coach, again, going back to that example, I might have like gym skits or things like that, like joking about bad form or something along these lines. And what we find is, like I said, is that the audience pool for these is much bigger. And by attracting a much bigger audience, you're not only going to get more likes, more views, more followers, but it's also going to be more people that are going to hear about what you do. And obviously a percentage of those are going to convert to customers of yours, which is what we'll get onto next.
Just a quick piece, just bouncing off of what Jack just said. Going back to identifying your audience, it's really important that you remember that your content actually applies to who your audience are and what they actually want. So you yourself might have a gym business, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that your audience are going to be interested in the content that you think they're going to be interested in. So maybe the best way to explain this is that you might be creating content about your gyms or how amazing your gyms are and all this sort of thing, or your PTs are amazing, da 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 da. But you have to remember that audiences are actually really selfish. So if they're not learning something or if they're not being entertained, then they're simply not going to stay. Quite frankly, they don't really care about your business. So you have to make sure that you make them care about your business. And the way in which you do that is by pandering to what they want and what they need. So instead of making content about your gyms or about your PTs or something like that, give them tips on how to improve their form in the gym, or give them tips on this exercise is really good if you want to build up your biceps or something like that, right? You want to remember that audiences are selfish, so you have to give them what they want, not what you want to show them, right? That's important to remember.
Yeah. Really good point. Really, really good point. So once you've built up, you're making some content, you're consistently putting it out, and you're kind of taking in mind all of the things that we've said so far. Naturally, might take a couple of days, a couple of weeks, or even a couple of months. You're going to get people watching your content. You're going to get views and you're going to get followers. Now, it's really important once we start to get some followers that you build meaningful connections with these people, because these people are going to become your community, the people that shout about you and that help your message go further, but they're also going to become your customers. So some like really quick small tips to build meaningful connections with your followers is to remember that they are human beings. Right now, this seems kind of dumb when you hear it to start with. Like, of course, someone liking my content is a human, but trust me, like once you say have like 5, 10, 20 people say liking or commenting on your post, like on your screen, they are just names and comments. And it's very easy to say, oh, that's nice. And then get caught up in the numbers. I want more numbers next time, more numbers next time. Each one of those people is a real individual person who has taken the time and effort to watch and engage with what you're doing. So reply to the comment in a helpful way. See how you can help them further. Follow them back, maybe. Create a discussion with these people, the people that are going to start DMing you, even if it's say not directly related to becoming a customer. really trying to help them out and build those meaningful connections, because these people are going to like tell their friends about you, and they'll tell their friends about you. And again, coming back to the 1,000 fans theory, like if this core first audience base of people that find out about what you do have a really strong connection to you, and they feel like they know you, or they even do know you, then it's going to help you grow a lot quicker and also go a lot further as well. And kind of transitioning on from that, our motto throughout our content we do with Simon and across the whole of the Purposeful project is give without take. This massively applies to everything in life, to be honest, but again, to the content that you will create as well. So like it says here, the more you give, the more your followers will trust you. If you're selling something, it'll be very easy to say, oh, well, I'm not going to tell you that or give you that because that is in the paid package, or you must pay me for that. And of course, there's a time and place where you're going to ask someone to pay you for your service or your product or whatever it is. But the value that people will get from you when they don't necessarily expect it, you're just going out of your way, that is going to mean so much to them that they're going to be more inclined to buy from you or shout about you or support you anyway. And even better than that, it's going to make you feel amazing because you're going to be genuinely helping people. Now, I know, like, of course, I'm sure you're all great people anyway. You're naturally going to help people. But the common misconception is like, I'm scared about giving too much away because I'm scared that I will harm my business. And we can say, like, from experience with previous clients and obviously what we do, and also feedback that we've had from Simon as well, who of course like kind of birthed the give without take concept, is that this is never the case. The more you give in life, or the better you feel and the more success that you're going to have as well. So don't worry about harming your business, because helping people for free is only going to grow it further.
Yeah, and just a quick point going off of that, I think it's really important that you try and include and construct some purpose around your content. So one of the reasons why our growth has been like incredible over the past few months is because we're not just creating content and putting it out there. We're not just trying to build up some followers or, trying to build up an audience so we can make sales in whatever product we're trying to shift. Or no, we're building a whole movement here. That's actually what's happening. Simon has, like Jack said, created this whole idea of give without take, and we're starting to get people on board with it because we actually have some purpose behind our content. We're not, like Jack said, we're not just doing it to sell something. Quite frankly, we don't have anything to sell, but we're not doing it to sell anything or to take advantage of the audience. We're bringing the audience in. We're saying, come to our community, come here. We're building like a tribe, like a movement together, and we're bringing people in. We're not trying to, entice them over so we can sell or take advantage. It's actually something that audiences can get on board with. So that's something important that you can remember when you're making your content, is to build some purpose into it and actually build a movement as opposed to simply reach and numbers.
100%. 100%. So thanks, guys, for staying with us for so long. Now we're just at the kind of very end of the talking section. We've covered all the content stuff. So there's a couple of really important things that I want to tell you before we go to the Q&A, which is going to massively help you turn these customers, these followers of yours into customers and help you tangibly grow your business as well. So just 2 more slides. The first one is building an audience that you own. So you've built a massive following at this point, even if it's only 1,000 followers. You've grown an audience who are watching your content, they follow you and they like your stuff. Now it's really important at this point to convert these people to an audience that you own. Now, what do I mean by that? By audience that you own, I mean you need to be collecting their email addresses. Reason for that is, I'm sure you're all very aware that when Facebook goes down once every few months, everyone goes mental. They're like, oh my God, I can't get into Facebook. I can't get into Instagram. I can't message on WhatsApp. What we want to do is kind of avoid issues like this if they were to happen for longer periods. Say Zuck was to go mental and just shut down the whole thing, or if you were to get unjustifiably cancelled or blocked or anything like that, you want to have a backup if something out of your control like this happens. And now, as a general rule, you can't really get any safer in terms of audience than an email list. It's going to be very hard for anyone to take this away from you. So we want to have a really easy and clear system to get people on our email list. Now, it's not necessarily sexy, but it can be super simple. So what we have, if you check out Simon's bios, is you go from any of his social pages to a landing page, which looks just like a link tree. You could even use Linktree or one of those platforms. And then people have an option to join our mailing list or join our community. And obviously, if they join our mailing list, then we get their email there, or people that join our community, we also grab their email as well to make sure that they're real people and no one's getting scammed inside of the community. So it's literally a two-step process for the engaged people to go from social media. And that means that all of the people that are most engaged with what we're doing anyway, and naturally going to be clicking through to see what we're up to, these people are going to be giving us their emails, and then we're going to own this audience. And like I said, by that I mean, if any of the social sites are to shut down, or if we to get blocked, we can still access these people. And say we move to Rumble, we can say, hey guys, we've moved to Rumble, and everyone will get that into their inbox. So yeah, just to reiterate, all you need to do is set up any email marketing software like MailChimp or Klaviyo or anything like that, and you can create a page saying join my email list, and then you can have that linked in your bio, and then that will do the trick. Another thing a lot of people do is they'll give away something free in exchange for an email. And this is a good idea as well, say a free guide or a free sample or a free whatever this is. I think that's a nice idea too. You can always do that and put that in your bio. I would be careful. You don't want to bait people into kind of saying, giving them something valueless and then saying, oh, you have to pay for the expensive thing. Again, kind of like we covered, we don't want to be doing that. But if you give them something really, really valuable for free in terms of their email, again, they're going to love it. And they're also going to be more likely to buy from you anyway. So yeah, that's just a super quick one. And then once you've kind of got this email list or and community of people, you want to keep it warm. You want to be reaching out to these people with more value, telling them what you're up to a couple of times a week, and suggesting how you can help them, whatever your business might be, and kind of keeping them in the loop so that when they do receive an email from you, they're not thinking, I don't remember what this was, why have I subscribed to this? You want to kind of keep them warm in there just like you would for your social media. So yeah, that's that. Cover the last little bit off. Like I said, not necessarily the sexiest part, but it is really, really important. If you're going to the effort of growing an audience, you're going to want to make sure you're backed up. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll get to the exciting bit now. We've got a few minutes where we can get to Q&A. So I think
I'm intrigued to see what people are asking.
Yeah, I think we've got 5 in here already. What we'll do, if you put them in the Q&A section, we'll try and get through any of these. Someone at 2 minutes past couldn't hear us. No, I really hope that hasn't been the case the whole time. But there's quite a lot of comments, so I'll assume that that's not an issue. Why use TikTok videos as opposed to Instagram? Is the algorithm different? So again, we'll just to cover this really quickly. TikTok is the formula, but these videos will be going on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, anywhere that will take these short form videos, we'll be posting them. The algorithms are all more or less the same, although TikTok is probably still the best as it invented it. How do you engage audience with more serious topics of conversation, i.e. mental health? From Lisa. Callum, do you want to answer this quick? I'm going to get up our Instagram, guys, in case you want to ask us any more questions.
I'll keep that up for me so I can see the question.
Sure. Yeah. How do you engage audience with a more serious topic?
Yeah.
Like mental health?
So this is, you have to be careful around this. First of all, the first thing I'd ask is there a way that you can make it a little bit less serious? Is that so bad to say? I mean, of course, it's a serious topic, and you should approach it carefully. I think you're quite right to ask that question. But I wonder, could you make it a little bit more relaxed, I mean, the first idea that popped up in my head as I was reading your question was, it reminded me a little bit of, I don't know if anyone remembered Gymshark's campaign where they opened up a barber shop. And the whole idea of the barbershop was that people could go in, get their hair cut, and they talk about their mental health. Because it seems that a lot of the time that's how guys sort of open up. They seem to open up with their barbers more than anyone else. So I remember Gymshark ran that campaign. I wonder if you could make, perhaps you could partner with a barber and you could film the barber cutting the person's hair and you could talk openly about mental health or something like that. I mean, the barber shop idea is just an idea. I'm sure you could translate that into other forms. Perhaps you could go for a walk or something like that and you could film the walk. Of course, you'd want to edit it so that it's somewhat fast paced and interesting. You don't want it to be too pedestrian, no pun intended. But I think if you could sort of think a little bit creatively like that around interesting ways that you could mix mental health into content or mix it into action of some sort or something like that, I think that would probably be the best way to do it. In some ways, it's actually a little bit of a blessing that your topic is mental health, because I think you can mix that into a lot of different things. So maybe it's something to consider. What else are you interested in? What other sort of stuff do you want to show in your content? Because then you can mix mental health into that. I think that would be the best way to do it.
Agreed. And then again, fundamentally, kind of short Instagram, yeah. Fundamentally, just coming back to like the theory of it. The reason that we're going to want to try and make serious content entertaining is because people are on TikTok to be entertained, right? As a whole, people do want to kind of have fun on TikTok. They're going on there to, they're going on there to escape whatever it is, escape their normal lives. They're going on there to enjoy their lunch break or whatever it is. So if we can take these serious topics that they might need to hear about, but we can make it accessible to that kind of dopamine mindset of someone that's just mindlessly quickly scrolling their feed, then you're going to be able to reach more people.
I've always wondered, if I like and comment on a lot of others' content, does that make my own content stand out less? I don't believe so. Honestly, I don't believe so. I mean, in fact, you could argue it makes it stand out more, because I mean, I certainly know this for stuff like platforms like LinkedIn, and this is also true for if you DM people on Instagram. It highlights to those platforms that you are more closely connected with those people, so your content actually shows up in front of their content more. I don't know how it applies for short form content, being brutally honest, but I see no reason why it would do that. And it certainly I certainly haven't experienced that. So
yeah, agreed. There's no downside to engaging. It's always a good thing. I have a jewelry business and finding it hard to get a following. Okay, so I'll take this question as, if I was starting a jewelry business, what would I do? If I had a jewelry business,
I mean, do you produce the jewelry yourself? Because the first thing that I'd find interesting about this, I can already see videos of just people showing the process of how you make the jewelry. I think, especially if you want to sell the jewelry, right, that would make it a lot more interesting to audiences. And in fact, the beauty around this is if you can build an audience showing the process of making your craft, you're going to be able to sell that for way more, because people see the actual work that goes into it, and that it increases the perceived value of those products. So if you produce them yourself, show the process. And I think that's interesting. I don't know if you've ever come across some of the satisfying videos of people. First thing that come up off the top of my head is people would phone cleaning business, and basically, I mean, that sounds boring, right? But they film the whole process of taking the phone apart and cleaning the different pieces and getting rid of all the gunk and that sort of thing. It's super satisfying to watch, interesting, intriguing, right? Remember from the presentation. And they get all their sales through short form, and I think, as far as I'm aware, they're rolling in it. So.
And then if you're not creating it, for any of you that say are drop shipping jewelry or anything like that, as it's fresh in my mind from what we do, you could get some of the jewelry that you're drop shipping or that someone else is creating for you. You could go out into the streets and you could just propose to people and then have close-ups of the rings if people said yes. And then it's going to be kind of awkward, kind of voyeuristic, but very funny. You can have close-ups of the rings. And then I believe on TikTok Shop, you can probably attach these things to it. Or if not, you'll have the link in your bio anyway. But again, if say you're drop shipping, of course, we're like, what differentiates these types of stores is the brand and the market that you build. So kind of creating outrageously entertaining content like that is the route that I'd go down, I think, if I was in your shoes.
Nicoletta asks, what are the best ways to convert followers into customers? You want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So I would say more or less is kind of what we've covered in the process that I described of taking them from followers to audience that you own. But then from there, I guess I'd say there's two main ways. If you're running a sale or something like that through your email list, you can run sales campaigns to people and let them know what you have for sale. Obviously, you can link straight to your sales pages and stuff. So building up an email list is massively important for that as well. But directly from your content, it does quite largely depend on what you're selling. But again, to me, it comes back to giving without take, providing more value than anyone else does. Because if these people massively value the content that you put out, they really feel like they relate and understand and have a relationship with you and your business, then they're going to almost feel obliged to give you something, right? Like with Simon, a lot of people are like, how can I help you? Like, please, can I pay you for help or anything? That's because of how much like he gives away for free without asking for anything back, right? And that effect that you can have on your audience is really, really powerful, and you can have that at any scale as well. So yeah, I guess two answers there. One, tangible, is just make people aware of what you're selling and have it easy to find. And secondly, and kind of more importantly, I'd say just focus on building those incredible relationships with your followers, and they're gonna be dying to give you their money.
And get them in your email list, because then you can build a more intimate relationship with them.
Yeah,
I think that we didn't cover it in the presentation, but that's almost the beauty of email. Instead of broadcasting to all of your followers and even cold audiences online through the platforms we mentioned, with an email, it's way more intimate, because it's a genuine message sent to that person directly. I know there will be mass emails being sent out if you do have a large email list, but it just brings in that extra degree of intimacy, and I think that's really helpful in terms of building genuine connections with the audiences that you have, and gets you that little bit closer to actually converting them into a customer.
So him, how to engage audience, as we're a charity organization. We try to testimonial or CV writing educational video, but not effect, maybe because of the low distribution rate of Facebook or IG. So we're a charity organization.
How to engage audience as a charity organization. I feel like we might need a little bit more information in terms of what the charity is and what the charity does, because that will be pretty key to answering your question. So maybe if you could also pop that in the Q&A section as well, and then we'll be able to answer your question in a bit more detail.
But again, coming back to a fundamental standpoint, it's say it's a more typical charity that gives loads, make really heartwarming content, like Mr. Beast just put out a video like curing 1,000 people's blindness, right? Like, and that is incredibly heartwarming because it is truly amazing, and charities tend to do truly amazing stuff. So again, just to try and create content around like the amazing things that you are doing for people, and show the real life effects of it, and people are no doubt going to engage with that. So Udi, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. But you're a guitar teacher looking for more unusual ways to create interesting content. Any ideas? You laughed. You got an idea?
No, it was just unusual ways. I quite like the thinking, actually. You want to be the purple cow, right? To get noticed. You want to be different. So unusual ways is a good way to think.
An easy one that I'm sure people do this, but like if you can create 60-second or 40-second guitar tutorials for meme songs or for trend songs or things that are going viral right now, you're going to tap into a really wide audience. And then the ones that are interested in guitar are also going to see your more serious videos. But say 1 in every 5 or 10 videos is you playing, like, I don't even know any meme songs these days, but you playing whatever's trending at the moment on guitar, and like just you play it first, and you play like you do a 10-second tutorial of how to do it. That, again, if I was a guitar teacher, that's how I'd attract people in. And then I would also mix that with more serious teaching videos in 60 seconds that people can learn of other, I guess, popular songs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, you say serious. I'd argue maybe you want to mix in a little bit of comedy in there. It depends on your personality, but definitely throwing in a lot of personality into those videos is going to help you. I mean, it sounds obvious, but if you throw personality in, whatever your niche is, if you throw personality in there, you're going to be a lot more interesting to audiences, and your videos will do better. So yeah, I think good idea though with the quick tutorials. I think that's the key. Be quick, be snappy. Just bouncing off that quickly before we go to the next question. I have a friend who runs a hospitality group. And basically the way which they do their content, which is absolutely genius, they have a number of Asian cuisine restaurants, right? But the way in which they actually they've built a solid audience, and the way in which they've done that is they cook Asian dishes in under 60 seconds, and you actually see the whole process. So it'll be crazy. It'll be in the back kitchen of a restaurant, flames everywhere, you know, tossing all the food and mixing it together. It's awesome. It's incredible. I think it's Miso Hospitality if you want to check it out. I know that's totally different from guitar tutorials, but that's the sort of mindset you want to get in, to be quick and snappy and interesting. And crazy and fun, I think. Yeah,
for sure. So Bella has a B2B business where you sell course modules to universities. How would you build a following with that? Now, if you're a B2B business like that, of course, like mainly you're going to be attracting universities. Now, you might say them not necessarily scrolling on TikTok. I mean, the decision makers might be, but more what I probably would be focusing on if I were you. Again, it does depend on the specifics of your business, but for someone in this sort of position, including yourself, I would be building a valuable audience or database of the people that you're trying to reach. So if I was selling to universities, I would want to build up a big audience of students who value the content and the education that I put out. So then when you're selling course modules and stuff like that, again, I don't know the specifics, but hypothetically, I guess if you're selling course modules to a university, then you can also say, like, I have loads of students that follow this, and they're really interested in this type of learning or this subject, and you have data to back it up, like specifically. So yeah, hope that helps, Bella. Sorry if that's not examples not specifically applicable to your business, but I think overall for B2B businesses like yours, if you aren't directly going for the people that are going to buy from you, think about who buy their stuff, and could you build an audience there? Rachel, you said that was helpful. Very, very glad that we could be of help. You've asked a question, what do you mean by propose with the room process and marry, or give it away free? So both. I guess you could take it back off them, but I meant as in like joke propose on a video. Again, it was just a stupid example really, but you could get down on one knee and say, will you marry me? Of course, I'm not saying you should then go ahead and do the vows and actually get married to the random person that you proposed to on the street. But yeah, that is what I meant. You could propose as in pretend to marry them. You could let them keep it and oh my god, thank you. Or if you really need the ring back, which I understand if you do, then of course you could say I need it back.
Suzette, how often would you include a call to action? Good question. And the short answer to this is not too often. Certainly don't do it every video, because you'll totally turn off your audience. Just some tips for call to actions. I think definitely limit the amount that you do a call to action. I'd say literally definitely no more than 1 in 5. I'd say. Also, just bouncing off of that, I think we mentioned earlier that the view duration is really important on short form. So what you want to make sure is that audiences watch your whole video and they don't simply swipe when they see the call to action, because I promise you, if you have a call to action at the end of your video, they will swipe as soon as they realize there's a call to action, right? And unless they need what you're offering. So what you want to do, a little tip with this is maybe have your call to action as text on screen. You can do that in the editor before you post. That's a really good way to include a call to action. Or the other answer is, I don't know what Jack's about to say, but the other answer is don't include a call to action at all. Maybe have it in your bio, in your profile, and you can have whatever you're offering, service or product, whatever. You can just say, X service or X product here, have an arrow and then link to website or wherever you want to send the traffic. But that would be my answer to your question.
Yeah, good answer. Nothing to add, really. Really good answer. So him has just clarified your charity is help promoting social mobility, so help for low-income families or workshop about careers, etc. Yeah, so with stuff like that, again, I would be showing the help that you're giving to these people in a heartwarming way, or interviewing the people who are struggling and helping them. Kind of just go straight to the help level and then create content around it. Make it heartwarming, make it entertaining, and make it relatable for other people that are in this position. Of course, there are a lot of low-income families, especially right now around the world. So I just focus on getting down on their level, making it relatable and entertaining as well.
Yeah, just quickly, I think maybe street interviews could be a good route for you to go down. Take some inspiration from some of the Give Without Take content that we've done recently. It's not all too dissimilar. I know we're a little bit more business, but it's ultimately helping everyone, quite frankly, but not too dissimilar. So give that some thought, I'd say.
Yeah. So Soul Brand says best. I think you're asking best platform to sell merch. We haven't released merch yet, so I can't give you the best advice on there. What I can give you advice on is once you do release merch and you choose where it's going to be sold, again, the same process will apply. You can add the link straight into your bio or into the link tree, and wear it in your videos and things like that. If it's your only focus, then you can have in your bio the hoodie I'm wearing in the recent video, Arrow, or anything like that. And again, just make the journey really simple for people to go from video to sales page on there.
Yeah, well, one example I gave someone as advice in terms of selling their products was to feature it in their content. So their whole business was about sustainability and environmental gift cards. And basically the advice I gave them was to create street interview content a little bit like we did, but make it a little bit more quiz-like so the audience could play along. Anyway, long story short, the prize for winning this short quiz was their product. So if they got all 3 questions right about sustainability, they'd win the sustainability gift card that the business provides. So your merch could be, I mean, I don't know what the specific niche is, what the topic of your brand is or whatever, but I think if you could feature your product as a prize in some way, or feature it in the content subtly like that, it's quite a good way to go about it. And also it gives it another dimension in that you frame your product as a prize, so something that seemed desirable and something that people want. It's very subtle psychology there, but that's a good way to feature your products in videos as well. So do it, but do it subtly. Like I say, people don't really care about your products. You have to make them care. So
yeah, great point. So final one we've got on here is from Christian. Is agency-based content creation worth the money, or does your own content generate more uptake? I'm not 100% sure what you mean.
It depends on your goals, right? Are you saying about outsourcing your content to an agency? Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, if you're still here, Christian, just clarify that really quickly. Are you saying, get someone else to create content for you, or like it's worth the time? Oh, okay, yes. Sure. Yeah. So to start with, I'd say you definitely want to do it yourself, mainly because you want to kind of test things around. You want to find out what works. Like in the testing phase, you don't really want to be paying someone else to do that for you. Maybe you've got people helping you with ideas and things like that, but again, I mean, we'll always help you with ideas, and so will people in the community. You want to find your feet and see what you enjoy, see what works, and then maybe once you've got a system that works for you, a style of content, then you can get an agency or freelancers to help you create more content around. But yeah, I say to start with, it's definitely worth doing yourself.
Yeah, it's also good to build up a little bit of base knowledge so that you know what you want. If you do go to hire an agency to create your content for you, you know what to brief them with, and you know what you actually want to get out of the content. So I think that would be my advice.
Yeah, if you don't like being on TikTok, like you said there, or if people don't like being on TikTok, it's kind of like with anything, you kind of, especially if you're a small business, which like I'll assume that most of you guys probably are, you can't expect things to necessarily take off or do really well, like if you're not going to give it love or attention to start with, like, and unless you're, say, hiring like the best industry expert in ever, or you've got a partner who in your business who is super passionate about, say, TikTok, you can't really expect, without having the love for it to do really well from the start. So I'd say if you hate TikTok like loads, firstly consider creating the content, and if you really don't want to make it, then maybe there's other avenues of growing your business that work for you. But just kind of paying someone to do it because you're not interested could easily end up being a waste of your money if you don't really see the value there anyway.
Yeah, Lisa, I've just seen your comment in the chat. You asked about if you could ask a question by talking to us. I'll tell you what, go check out our Instagrams on screen right now. Just put it in a DM and we'll answer it after the presentation's done. I think that would probably be the best way to go about it, but we'll make sure it's answered properly for you.
Yeah, for sure. And that goes with any of you as well. Anyone who would like to ask any questions around the content that we create, both with Simon and also stuff that we've done in the past, or you want any advice on what you're doing, then feel free just to give us a message on Instagram. Always more than happy to help. And yeah, I really hope you guys have found some value in the stuff that we've been talking about today. The good news is what we've kind of covered is more or less everything. It's not the most complicated thing in the world. You just need to be really persistent with it. You need to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And just keep trying to provide more and more value for the people that you want to serve. And I've no doubt that you guys will build seriously loyal and engaged followings within no time.
Thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely evening if you're in the UK. If not, then have a lovely rest of your day. And looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye, guys.